Hello, Sagittarius. I'm Adriana, and I've got an intuitive reading for you today. This is for Sag, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And I want to start with just an animal card for you, Animal Oracle. We're going to pull out two, Sea Turtle and the Goat, going in opposite directions. This is really interesting. So our sea turtle is going this way and our goat is going this way. So there's some kind of conflict between what you're trying to build and this idea of just going with the flow. Okay, whenever I see this card, I also think of Capricorn. So you may be having some Capricorn energy in yourself or dealing with a Capricorn. This one feels a little more vaguely Scorpio, Pisces to me, in that it's more watery. So we've got a conflict between willpower and surrender going on right away. So interesting way to start your reading. Let's get some cards for you. Okay, middle two to represent where you are, 3 of feathers and 6 of swords. 3 of wands, 6 of swords. So you're still in a healing mode. There's still a lot of healing to do. It's like you're looking out, trying to get yourself into the future, saying, come on, I'm ready for the future, ready to get this moving. But the reality is, Sagittarius, there's still a lot of healing for you to do. Let's look at what that healing is, around what is the healing for Sagittarius. It's funny, the mushrooms are really popping out on this card to me on this side. See all those mushrooms? So that has me thinking two things. One, that we're looking at health because certain mushrooms are really good for health. But we also could be looking at that shadow side of mushrooms, which is the delusional, hallucinogenic side, where you're seeing things that aren't necessarily there. So I'm just going to kind of hold that in my head as I get clarification. Okay. Yikes. All right, healing, having to do with the lovers, the judgment, and the mother of feathers, the queen of wands. So this is healing around your power. This is healing around your own sovereignty. This is also different ways of perceiving self-love or love for yourself. What does that really mean? And what is really interesting in this card is that she's in the middle, and then there's all of these males around her. I can't remember the bird. I think it's like a chicken buzzard, or I can't remember. Anyway, there's all these males around her doing like little mating dances, but she's not really paying attention to them because she knows that she's the attractive one and she can attract whatever it is that she needs. And this puts me in mind of our kind of dichotomy that was set up here, where you have one that's just going with the flow and then one that's trying to will its way forward, building things. And so this is about healing that idea of how it is to just attract something to you because of your light, rather than having to go after it or having to leave. You know, this is just being yourself and allowing things to come to you. I want to ask what was going on with those mushrooms. It's always a good question to ask, right? What's going on with these mushrooms? Okay. Why I was seeing the mushrooms on the card, 8 of swords and 6 of wands. Okay, I'm really challenged with this one because it seems like there's been a constriction, but yet there's a victory over that constriction. I'm just wondering why the mushrooms, because the mushrooms in this card are, this is really funny to me. They're orange, and we've got the back of this. So we're looking at the victory of a health, the victory of your health coming. But the victory of your health is tied to this idea of your own, really loving your own power and loving your own attractive power. Knowing that you can just, the more you just are yourself, the more you attract to you. So there's a lot of levels with this concept because it's also the things you think about yourself. The more things you think about yourself, that really determines what comes towards you. Okay, so if you think of yourself as a great problem solver, guess what? You're going to get a lot of problems heading your way. If you think of yourself as a great mediator, that means that you're going to actually attract a lot of conflict so that you can live out these beliefs about yourself. But what if you had the belief, I'm enough just on my own. I'm just fine shining my light, being myself, enjoying being myself, and that's it, you know? So just kind of some things to think about here. Let's go into your soul's message. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're saying go back to this card because these two were asked, these two were about the mushrooms on the Six of Swords card. Why it's important to understand this, why it's important to understand this concept connected to the healing of your physical self has to do with allowing your physical self to fully come out. Okay, this Eight of Swords is the repression of truth, the repression of the individual. I know it says oppression, but it's that having to pull yourself in rather than express yourself out, rather than here where you've got one animal clearly victorious over the other, overpowering the other animal. And it's interesting too, because snakes are a symbol of healing for a long time. They're a very ancient symbol of healing. So it's literally you like seizing your healing, but understand that it's tied to these thoughts about yourself, the Eight of Swords and the Six of Swords. It's how you're thinking of yourself. Okay. So let me get a soul's message around that. What is your soul really trying to say through there? What's your soul saying through this experience and this communication? Okay, the lesson in this: Seven of Pentacles, growth, Three of Swords, mourning, Father of Feathers, and the Hierophant. Facing off, Father of Feathers and the Hierophant facing off. This is a face-off between the old and the I have to leave the old. Hierophant here is this stable energy of systems, of beliefs that are crystallized into something hard. Let's look at Capricorn. Let's look at this goat here. You see how he's actually part of the mountain? So these are crystallized beliefs, and the Father of Feathers is saying, let's leave. It's time to go. We can't stay here anymore. We're in danger. An interesting thing to look at, the Father of Feathers is overpowering a Gila monster, I believe. There's a little lizard down there. It's not unlike this hawk overpowering the snake. Okay, so what is going on here is that you're being asked to pull away from that old energy and pull away from that old domineering masculine authority type figure energy to define you. It's also really time to stop lamenting the growth. Okay, growth is hard. Growth makes us do things that are not comfortable. And, if you're an athlete or you like to work out, you know that there's this point where you have to kind of push yourself through some discomfort and pain to get stronger or better stamina or something like that. It's not a great feeling, but those of us that have pushed through that feeling know that it's temporary, and that on the other side of it is this incredible strength that we didn't have before. And there's a little bit of you kind of feeling sorry for yourself for all of the growth that you've had the growth experiences, the hardships that you've actually had to endure. And the more you sit there mourning it, again, it's what are you thinking about yourself? And if you're mourning the hardship, that energetically puts you on the same level of resisting the lesson. And if you're resisting the lesson, then you can't move on from it. That's why we've got this message of you're still healing. Okay, so this has to do with changing the way you're looking at your growth and understanding that growth happens in stages. They're not all pretty. They're not all easy to navigate, but that the idea isn't just to get to the end. Because what's really ironic about this concept? So this is a cicada. We've got the grub and we've got the different phases. By the time the grub gets to be an adult, a fully matured adult, their life isn't that long. I am not a cicada expert, but I'm thinking that their life is not that long. Okay, so the object isn't to just get to this short lived sense of joy, or this short lived sense of I've finally gotten to the top of the mountain, I finally accomplished it. It's really understanding the different stages of growth and resisting none of them. Okay, so Sag, I'm going to continue to pull cards and create an extended version for you. The link is down below. We'll get a little bit more clarity about what these growth lessons have been about, what you can do to really embrace rather than resist, and anything else that comes up. So I'll see you over there.